What's up, Pisces, and welcome to your July 2020 Creativity Tarot reading. My name is Kayleigh Jean, and welcome to my channel. I record these readings for artists, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is working on their self-expression, personal growth, or spirituality in any form. So if those areas of life are important for you at this time in your life, I encourage you to just go ahead and keep listening. I also want to say really quickly that you can use these readings for your sun, moon, or your rising sign. Sometimes it's nice to listen to all three if you have three, just so that you can really get a feel for where your energy may be showing up in the collective. It's also possible sometimes they don't resonate, especially at the beginning of the month, which is the feedback that I hear a lot of times from people, which is just that the reading makes a lot more sense at the end of the month. So come back and try that out as an experiment if you would like to. All right, Pisces. Wow. While I was tuning in for you, I started to feel kind of a heavy feeling on my shoulders. And it kind of gave me this impression that I almost wanted to lean forward a little bit, and it just felt like, I don't know if you're kind of carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders right now, or if you're carrying a lot of burdens within your personal life, if you're maybe taking care of family or just managing a lot of things that are just weighing down on you. But I think that there are some adjustments that can be made for you at this time, and I really feel like it's going to be beneficial to you in the long run if you can find ways to bring a little bit more lightheartedness into your existence, whether that is through some practices that you can engage in every day. For example, taking even just an hour or two a day, if you can really be aggressive about making that time for yourself, that could make a huge difference for you, even if it's just temporary. Making space in your life for something that is purely selfish, okay? Purely selfish, purely about your own joy. It's not about doing something, for the collective. It's not about doing anything for anybody else that's close with you. It's you just need, and maybe it's not 2 hours. Maybe that sounds a little too luxurious for someone out there, but maybe it's 30 minutes. But I just feel like there's this need that you have right now to replenish yourself and to really recharge your batteries and to focus on your joy, just for no other sake of it other than just your own enjoyment. Taking away any sense of this has to end up being good for other people, or this has to end up being good for me in the future. And it's no, just for the joy of right now. So if you're a painter, or if you love writing, or if you love reading, or if you love dancing or singing or cooking or whatever, just whatever you enjoy doing, do it just for the simple, pure joy of it right now, and not because you're gonna do something for other people. Because I think right now you have taken on a lot, and I think that you're just carrying a heavy burden. So it's super important that you just find ways to lighten up a little bit, create some levity, some space, some excitement as well, and just really kind of letting go of anything that feels too dense, because your dense energy is not a good look for a Pisces. You will dwell in the depths because you're just that type of sign, but you're also a very etheric sign. You're a sign that has a lot to do with the emotions, and a lot to do with visualizing, an amazing life for yourself and enjoying the process of hiking towards it. You're an adventurous sign. You're co-ruled by Jupiter in my book. So, you need to have that fun. You need to have that exploration. You need to have that theme of enjoying experience and embracing new experiences, and not needing everything to be very deeply consequential, right? But having at the same time a philosophical approach to life is really important. So finding ways that you can just be a little bit more lighthearted and selfish. Honestly, like, it's okay, Pisces, if you need somebody to tell you that it's okay to be selfish, or if you want permission, listen to me. It is okay to be selfish right now. I'm giving you permission to be selfish. And again, that doesn't mean that it goes to an extreme or that it gets unbalanced or whatever, but it's more about just recognizing that sometimes being focused on what's best for you is what's best for the collective as well. Because if you're happy, then you can show up and give your best to everybody else. So you have to kind of take care of yourself. So let's take a look at your cards, and we will get some more information. Pisces. All right, getting your Bob Ross message, and let's take a look at your Animal Spirit Oracle cards. Wow, so we've got Phoenix and Vulture. That's amazing. That is amazing. So what you're doing right now, Pisces, is quite alchemical. It's quite metaphysical. You are transforming darkness into light. You are transforming, as the alchemists talk about, base metals into gold. That's the transformative process that you're involved in right now, Pisces, and it's clearly shown by these cards. So how does that look in practical terms? Let's say you have had a really hard time with something in your life in the past, and it was something that really took your power away, for example, or that you allowed it to take your power away. So you maybe were criticized by someone for your music, let's say. I'm just making this as an example. Somebody didn't like a piece that you wrote or something along those lines. That could have created like a wound within you. But then over time, as you begin to heal from that, you could use that experience as a way that you actually go deeper into your creative voice and your voice as a musician. That could be something that makes you become a much more compassionate person. That's something that potentially makes you able to support others who are going through something similar. So that's that's like the psychological version of alchemy, where you're taking something that wounded you, that was extremely negative or disempowering in the way that you handled it and in the event itself, and then you're like gradually over time understanding that situation better and better, and gaining, realizing that you gained a lot of wisdom from it, and then you're turning that wisdom into medicine for other people. So that's one perspective on, the psychosomatic, emotional, and psychological aspects of, the concept of alchemy. So I feel like you are kind of going into the depths right now with the Vulture card, but you're also rising above them in an interesting way. So July could be a time where, we do have the sun moving through Cancer at the moment, so trining, which is a good aspect to anything that you have in Pisces. So it's like, it's a harmonious energy for you, but at the same time, with the Vulture card, I do think that there's quite a significant element of letting go of the past and letting go of your old persona, letting go of how you related to yourself in a lot of ways, how you thought about maybe how you're supposed to be somehow, or the kind of motivations that you're allowed to have. Like, these things could be coming into question for you right now. And I think that it's actually really empowering for you to be questioning in that way, because you have the phoenix. So the phoenix is really about like rising from the ashes. It's about leaving behind the shell of the old self and stepping into, your next chapter, which also involves you having more abilities, or realizing your abilities are much more broad and profound and all-encompassing than you thought. So you are basically more effective than you thought. And that is pretty much always what we recognize, or what we come to learn about ourselves when we move through a vulture type of experience, or a difficult experience, or we process something. We realize that we actually had the strength that we didn't know that we had. So that's kind of the energy. Let's take a look at mundane messages and practical things that could be going on. So we have the Four of Swords with the Knight of Swords, the King of Swords, and the Seven of Cups. We've got the Tower, the Six of Wands, Page of Pentacles, and the Eight of Pentacles. Yeah. I really feel for you, Pisces, that you need rest right now. I feel like you need some leisure. I think on the one hand, in that first week of July, you have this energy of the Four of Swords, which is about resting. It can also be about meditation or contemplation. So you could be engaging more with those kinds of things, those kinds of spiritual practices. But it's also about needing silence and needing rest and needing to kind of pull back from the goings on of your mundane life in a way. Like, I feel that you really need that. But then at the same time, you have this very active mind, right? With the Knight of Swords, I think your mind is very active in the beginning of the month, and you have a lot of ideas, but it's like your physical body needs to like chill. So you might feel this kind of push and pull because you have all these ideas and you have this like rapid, fire thoughts happening in your mind, but your body is like, whoa, I need to rest. I need to just like lay down on my yoga mat or something and just like freaking, meditate. So you're going to have to find a balance with that. It's not going to be super natural. We also have a lunar eclipse and full moon, obviously, in Capricorn at that time, which is in your 11th house. So that is actually kind of a social energy. But you could, with the Knight of Swords, because that's going on, you could end up feeling a little bit like maybe people are being a little rash with you. Like, you might, if this Knight of Swords represents a person, you might feel like somebody around you is reacting defensively or even going on the offensive with you. And if that's the case, again, the medicine in this reading is already here, which is the Four of Swords. It's like, all right, well, you don't need to engage with that person, or you don't need to get on that social media platform. You don't need to get involved with that. If that is something that you're finding has a negative effect on your mental health, you can totally do a social media detox if you want, or you can detox that friend from your life for a little bit and just be like, I need some space. That's perfectly fine too. So just keep that in mind. It's going to be a powerful lunar eclipse on the July 4th is actually when it happens. So that could be something, that's significant for you when it comes to social things and networking. But again, I don't think that you need to get super socially involved, especially if you're feeling overstimulated. Let's take a look at your second week of July. We have the Seven of Cups and the King of Swords. So again, we have very mental energy showing up for you, Pisces. For me, the Seven of Cups, obviously it's a Cups card, so it's a water card, but to me it's the airiest Cups card, if you can think about it in that way, because it has so much to do with the concepts that we have in our mind, and it has so much to do with trying to understand like our real emotional stance on something, trying to organize our thoughts and feelings, and feeling almost a little bit frustrated, honestly, with that process. But you also have the King of Swords. So I think this could represent for some of you either like the influence of a person outside of you with the King of Swords, and that could be a Libra person, or it could be an Aquarius person even, or maybe even a Gemini. I don't normally think of that card as Gemini, but it could be an air sign person in general, or it could be an aspect of yourself. So whether this is an aspect of yourself, like you're taking control of your thoughts and really making lists, Pisces, like make lists. If you're confused about everything you have to do, sit yourself down and just make some lists. Make lists of everything that you could possibly need to do, and just get it all down on paper, and then you can begin the process of elimination of things that are not as important. But you need to kind of get everything out on paper. You need to kind of think things through logically as well. When we have the King of Swords and the Seven of Cups, this could be you seeking the guidance of a counselor or somebody like a life coach or a business coach, or even a well-meaning parental figure or a business mentor, that kind of thing. And this person could be kind of helping you just like sort through your thoughts. So whether you're doing this for yourself or you are learning and experiencing this energy with the help of another person, that's really the name of the game in the middle of July, is getting your ideas down, getting your new goals down, and really just getting clear about how you really feel and what you really want. Sometimes that process of getting clear about what we really want can seem like, oh man, I feel like I already know this, or I did this at the beginning of 2020. I set some goals for myself. But honestly, we have to like constantly keep coming back to this, because it is very easy to just let it go by the wayside. And we've had so many big changes in 2020 that it's probably a good idea to revisit some of your goals and revisit what is really motivating you and driving you forward. That is really the phrase that keeps coming back to me, is what is really motivating you, Pisces? What is motivating you to take the actions that you're taking, to have the attitudes that you have? Really think about that and really absorb and pay attention to what comes up for you if you are exploring this, either through journaling or through conversation with a helpful person. You might be surprised at actually what your real motivations are, particularly when these cards come up. It's like something that was like a boogeyman in your mind, like something that was like a scary monster, doesn't hold up to scrutiny. And it actually is a much smaller problem than you thought. That can be one result, or it can also be the result of this kind of introspection. Could be that you realize that what you actually want is something different than what you thought you wanted. So maybe you've been trying to, let's say, buy a house, but when you really try and get to the bottom of what you're actually looking for in purchasing a house, it may not really be that the house itself is what you want. And in fact, that may not even be what's right for you right now. It could be that what you're really seeking is comfort within yourself, like recognizing that you really feel comfortable in your own skin and really loving being in your own skin and being present with your physical body. Like that might be what you're actually looking for, and what would actually be beneficial to you. But you wouldn't necessarily know that unless you did some deep introspective work, or even a tarot reading for yourself, or see a reader as well. That could be something that ends up really ultimately giving you a lot more clarity, and maybe you can achieve the things, the feelings that you want to have without actually having to achieve the things that you're looking for. So that could also be a big factor. Now, the third week of July, we have big stuff happening. So we've got the Six of Wands, and we also have the Tower. So big changes. When I look at this, I hear the words breakout success, honestly, because the Six of Wands is about success. It's about leadership. This is the archetypal hero's journey card where the hero comes back with the elixir to the village. So that's the stage of the hero's journey that this card represents. So, and then we also have the Tower, so it's like, it's a shocking thing, it's surprising. You come home with the elixir, so to speak, you have what you need, you solve a problem maybe unexpectedly, or in that third week of July, you could all of a sudden have an idea that if you act on it is going to lead to some great success in your life. Consequently, we actually do have a new moon in Cancer around that time. It's on July 20th. It's at 28 degrees of Cancer, which for you is falling in your 5th house of creativity. So, I mean, obviously, when you have a new moon in your 5th house, it is a very watery, very creative, very supportive and nurturing energy. So this could be a big idea for you. This could be, or something along the lines of a synchronicity that leads to a big expansion of your business, for example, if you're an entrepreneur. It could also just be a recognition of your path that comes to you through a divine sense. Like with the Tower, sometimes the Tower for me can represent when we feel like a calling coming to us. We can almost hear God speaking to us through the lightning bolt in the Tower. And in that sense, the crown at the top of the card represents the crown chakra being stimulated by, source energy. And so we're feeling guided to something in our lives. We're feeling inspired to something. And the Six of Wands is like, obviously just a harbinger of success. It's a very good omen. But then you're going to have to do the work. So you have this kind of like divine, dreamy energy, which is potentially very exciting, but also, tumultuous with the Tower. And then the last week of July, you've got the Page of Pentacles and the Eight of Pentacles. So now it's time to get down to brass tacks again. Now it's time to start digging in, roll up your sleeves, and get to work. You might have to recognize that there are some things that you don't know yet, Pisces. So you could, with the Page of Pentacles, for example, you could realize like, all right, now that I have this business idea, like if I'm being totally honest with myself, I don't know what the F I'm doing. So I need to go figure out some shit. Like you might really be thinking that, and you might be looking at, okay, where can I go to learn what I need to learn to do what I need to do? And so there is going to be a process of, with the Page of Pentacles, it's about humbleness, I think. It's about really looking at your natural tendencies, your natural strengths, and then comparing those with what you think you're going to need to build on in order to generate a success for yourself. And then just recognizing and acknowledging what you don't know yet and just moving forward with it anyway, ready to enjoy the process of learning, experimenting, and trying things out. So the Eight of Pentacles is coming up with that, which is, for me, it's a universal tradesman card. It's really about skilled trade and mastering a skill, working hard every day, showing up with dedication, focusing on what you are working on developing within yourself. So definitely a lot of progress, but you're still in the beginning phases of it. According to, these cards, the Page of Pentacles is like, you've got all this potential and now you got to work for it with the Eight of Pentacles. But, I think that approach to life of like embracing hard work and embracing this idea of not that everything has to have resistance to it, but there's something satisfying about putting in a good day's work. And there's something really satisfying about challenging yourself to learn and grow and expand and being committed to that day in and day out. That really is just satisfying in life in general. So I think that you're going to have fun with it. So let's take a look at your Bob Ross card. He says, painting will bring a lot of good thoughts to your heart. I think that's so beautiful, and it very much relates to this energy that I was picking up in the meditation about needing to rest and needing to do things just for the joy of it, not because it's building up to a business for you or not because it's something that other people are going to enjoy, but really just being in the process of doing something that you love. And that's it. That is its own reward. Like, not needing it to be anything else. I think that is such a powerful commitment to self. And when you're doing that, I'll tell you a secret, Pisces. When you're doing that, creating just for creating's sake, just being in the moment with the joy of what you're doing, whether it's painting or writing or walking your dog or playing with some baby goats, if you have goats, you are in that moment opening up to your life. And that might not sound like a super profound thing, but if you think about everything that a human being goes through from birth to death, right? That whole process, that whole journey that is about learning new things and practicing and thinking about the next step, always thinking about the next step, thinking about where things are going to go in the future, planning, all of those things are good. But when you are just in the moment of like channeling pure joy, like down from wherever the fuck it comes from, like the universe, basically, the mystery, and you just are in the moment of what you're doing and you're loving it, like you're honoring your birth. You're honoring every moment that you've spent in this physical reality. Like, you are your life in that moment when you're doing that. So it's super important not to undermine the importance of, or like the significance of that, because you're really living. When you're not thinking about the future and you're not thinking about the past, you're just in the moment doing something you love, feeling joy in your heart. You are honoring the physical cells that led to like your embryo, like you are honoring the divine creative energies that filtered through the different layers of existence in order to crystallize and form your physical being. Like, you are honoring those energies, those creative energies. So I hope I have convinced you that you should do that. And just feel good. Just feel good. Just feel good, Pisces. Feel good. Just feel good. I just want to keep saying that, like, feel good. Just feel good. Oh my gosh, I love reading for you guys. Like, you guys bring this out of me. I'm going to get you a Surrender Oracle card. Whew, I got chills. It says, surrender your fear of intimacy. It says, you are ready to let love in. Compassionately identify and begin to release any patterns that stop you from opening your heart. Beautiful. I feel like this is a really important message for someone out there. So I'm just going to leave that with you guys. All right, Pisces. Oh, this was a really beautiful reading. I'm like bubbling right now. So I hope you are too. I hope this has given you some inspiration and something to just lead you back to God, to lead you back to your divine connection, to source, spirit, whatever you want to call it. You guys are doing great work in the world. If you're listening to this, I always set the intention that my readings reach people who they need to reach and who are, approaching things with kindness and good intentions in their hearts. And I think that's why I surprisingly get like very little negative energy on my channel, because I do set that intention. But I just want to say thank you so much for being here, and I'm sending you so much love. I hope you have an amazing and very peaceful and beautiful month in July. I will put the information below on the workshop. It's a wealth building workshop for healers and creatives. So if you're interested in just money and thinking about money in a different way, I'll put the information for that workshop below. It's coming up this month. All that information, again, will be below the video. And yeah, feel free to let me know in the comments. Leave me a little pink heart or a red heart or something like that if you want to let me know you're just still with me. Or if you want to just tell me your thoughts on the reading, I would absolutely love to hear from you about that as well. And obviously, all comments I am super grateful for because they really help to support my channel's growth in the algorithm. So please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Leave me a comment below, subscribe, and subscribe for notifications as well if you don't want to miss any videos from me. I'll also put links to all these decks beneath the video. They are affiliate links, so if you feel like treating yourself to a new deck, definitely check that out, and you'll also be supporting my channel at the same time. All right, guys, thank you so much for being here, sending you tons of love, and I will talk to you in the next one. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time, Pisces.